Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with my round 1 battles from the Smogon Grand Slam Playoffs. This is my third time qualifying for the Smogon Grand Slam. About a month and a half ago, I was obviously uploading my runs in the opens of NU, Little Cup, Ubers, RU, and UU, so all of them. And like I said, I qualified for playoffs. So here we are with my round 1 battle. Again, it's a best of 5 and all the lower tiers, Little Cup, NU, Ubers, RU, and UU. Ubers is actually considered a lower tier because OU is considered a higher tier. I always found that funny. But yeah, I'll be commentating my games of this. And of course, if you guys don't like me pausing or giving my thought process behind everything, feel free just to watch the replays down below in the description. And yeah, besides that, I hope you guys enjoy. So, because these were some really good games. Like win or lose, these were some really good games. So first off, we have my NU match because I'm gonna show you guys in the order that I played them. So NU is the first game. Luthier has an incredibly threatening team. Comfy is always something that I'm really scared of, especially in the late game, especially because I don't have a steel type on this team. However, Delmise can take a +1 hit at full HP. And Delmise can also break through Vaporeon, Torterra, and Comfy. Obviously, Oricorio, Incineroar, and what I'm assuming is Silvally Steel do deal with that. This is just my, my initial thought process at team preview, my assessment of team preview. I have a Rotom which can Volt Switch and Defog around, which I think would be really nice. It can burn Torterra, it can burn Vaporeon. My Rhydon can easily get up Rocks versus Incineroar and Silvally Steel. My Slowbro offensively does threaten his team, however, it's not a calm mindset, so it can't really win, nor is it a toxic set. And my Magmortar is really nice here. I'm PokeaimMD, so that can actually nuke Incineroar after Stealth Rock damage. It does like 87 to 103 to the standard Spadef set that thankfully Count Riario, big shout out to him, passed me the spread of because I was like really confused in that HT versus loading game, like what the hell happens. And I have Thunderbolt to KO Vaporeon with Rocks, Fire Blast obviously Oko Torterra. So Magmortar is definitely key in winning this, and I think that Delmise is going to be key as well. As far as lead matchups go, I thought Rotom would be really nice because it just gives me momentum versus everything. Rotom also checks Oricorio and doesn't die to anything except for knockoff from Incineroar. I'm Cobra Berry though, but I can Will-O-Wisp everything that threatens me. So I lead off with my... I lied, I led off with Magmortar because it threatened everything. Holy crap, I forgot my own game. So, okay. Yes, Rotom actually put me in a position where Incineroar would knock me off immediately. Sorry about that if you guys hear outside, but Incineroar would knock me off immediately and I'd lose momentum turn 1. So Magmortar was the better lead because Incineroar was such a good lead versus my entire team. It literally matched up well versus everything on my team. So I let Magmortar just threaten it with the Z fighting, and I don't want to go for PokeaimMD. First off, he can double out into Vaporeon here to scout for it. Also, if he's a Assault Vest, he won't die. Obviously, chipping away at him would be really nice, but if he does have Earthquake, I also don't want to take that, as Magmortar is going to be really key in breaking his team. So I switch out into my Rhydon, or excuse me, Passimian, because Passimian is not looking that good with a Choice Scarf, to be honest. The only thing it outspeeds with a Choice Scarf is the Oricorio, and potentially the Comfy, though they don't usually run that much speed. So if he wanted to go for knockoff here, I was fine with Passimian, as I like the ability to U-turn and knock off in close combat and even gunk shot freely versus his squad. So he actually ends up revealing Protect. So that's cool. So I know he's Protect, maybe with a Figgy Berry as he goes for another Protect. I go for knockoff, either getting rid of his leftovers or Figgy, Iapapa, whatever berry, and I go for a double knockoff as he switches out to Oricorio. Smart, because this thing is obviously running a Z move. Now, I double out into Rotom as opposed to going Rhydon because Rotom dealt with both of Oricorio's stabs and the double out into Torterra, which was pretty obvious. I wasn't going to risk clicking double knockoff there when Passimian, while it's not the most useful in this game, it's still switching to Incineroar. So I get in Rotom here. I can threaten Torterra with a Will-O-Wisp. He switches out to Incineroar, very nice play. I go for Volt Switch though, anticipating that as he's not going to let me burn him, and I get in Rhydon. So this is great because I can get up my Rocks. He makes a really nice aggressive play here, going for knockoff, anticipating the Rocks, and I'm actually going to switch out into my Magmortar because I didn't want Torterra to come out. Also, it could have been potentially a speed tie since my Rhydon actually has a bunch of speed, even though he obviously outsped me. Spadef Incineroar doesn't always run that much speed, so it could have been a speed tie here, and he might have just went hard into Torterra because it was a safer play. But I went Mag as he goes Silvally Steel on the U-turn, and I'm like, are you just baiting my Fire Blast? I'm going to go Vaporeon. So I throw off a Thunderbolt. Had I thrown off, obviously, a Fire Blast, Silvally would have gotten nuked But he parting shots out to Torterra. Very nice play because it will not die. He can threaten me with Earthquake. I'm going to bring out Rotom because I'll live one Wood Hammer. And I threaten him with the Will-O-Wisp itself as he brings out Incineroar. And I actually decide to defog immediately. I don't want to go for Will-O-Wisp there because I'm pretty sure Torterra is really key for him in winning this game. So he's not going to let me burn it. And obviously, like I said, my Magmortar is key in this too. So while I did just get up Rocks to pressure Incineroar, I actually just put it in barrier range after next Rocks. I didn't want it to affect my Magmortar, especially because he'd be coming in on doubles and whatnot. So he turns out into Vaporeon. I'm going to make the Slowbro play. I can bluff Toxic. He makes a very nice play in going for Toxic of his own, catching either Dalmines or Slowbro. And like I said, I can bluff Toxic and actually double out to Rotom, anticipating Torterra to want to come in. And I decided to throw off a Will-O-Wisp here, just in case he wanted to be a little bit aggressive instead of going Incineroar. Now right here, I actually hard switch as opposed to going for Volt Switch because I didn't want to activate his berry right there. And by me going out to Simeon, I'm actually able to knock off Vaporeon's leftovers. This is really, really nice. I do risk the burn there. Don't get it, thankfully. But really nice because, again, Vaporeon's leftovers can take 2 Thunderbolts. Without leftovers, it really can't. So I bring out Slowbro and I bluff the Toxic right here and throw off a Scald as Torterra comes out. This really would have worked out for me, obviously, had I burned it, but I don't. And what I'm actually going to do is go into Rotom one more time as he gets up his Rocks. Once again, I can defog. I'm not going to go for Will-O-Wisp when Incineroar can come out. And at this point, I'm like, whatever, I literally type, man, have your berry. I don't care. I don't want to have to deal with this later. Let me at least activate it now. So I Volt Switch out into Rhydon. A lot of Volturn here as he's going to bring out Torterra. Now at this point, I've went out to Rotom so many times that I'm fairly confident Torterra is not going to go for Rocks and it's going to go for Wood Hammer. And it does. And look how much it does to Magmortar. However, now I'm in an offensive position where I can actually 2-hit KO something on his team. So he brings out Vaporeon. I do click the save Fire Blast. At this point, I don't want Vaporeon Wish Passing. It is a risk, risking my Magmortar right here, obviously. It's a risk risking. Yes, it is. That's what it is. I can... I'm going for Taunt, basically. If I get Taunt play wrong and he goes for the Scald, really sucks because Magmortar is one of my breakers for this team. But because the way I've been playing and I've been switching it out when something threatens it, I felt that while it was risky, I gained so much from it if it worked out. So I go for Taunt here as he goes for Wish, and I keep Vaporeon low, which is great because now I can't come in on Fire Blast into Thunderbolt, and I can bring out Rotom on the Scald. I do get burnt. I mean, he's throwing off enough Scalds, so I finally get burnt. And what I'm actually going to do is, once again, go for Volt Switch. He makes a really aggressive play and goes out to Torterra. I like that too because I obviously didn't want to give Incineroar momentum. I was thinking about going for Will-O-Wisp there for a long time because obviously burning Vaporeon would be really nice too, putting in a range of T-Bolt. But there's no way he lets me burn Torterra here, so I just click Volt Switch again as he brings out Incineroar. And this potentially gives me 2 things. It either gives me Rhydon with Rocks, which is what I choose to do, because at this point I kind of think, okay, because if I get up Rocks, Magmortar guarantee knocks out Vaporeon. So what I can do is get up Rocks and then go Rotom. If he goes for his own, I could go for defog while still threatening Vaporeon. Basically right there. I'm surprised he didn't U-turn out to Vaporeon, but obviously had I clicked Earthquake, Earthquake would have done a ton to Vap, and there's like a 50-50 of whether I will Earthquake again on the expected Scald. But he goes for Wood Hammer, which I am completely fine with because I keep up Rocks, he doesn't get up Rocks, and I get in Magmortar right now, and I can just click Fire Blast one more time. I don't have to predict. Incineroar comes out, I land my Fire Blast, which is really, really clean, and I'm able to knock out Incineroar. So at this point, he's going to bring out Oricorio, which is smart. It's faster than me. Nothing else can knock me out and outspeed me. I'm going to bring out Rhydon as he goes for the Revelation Dance, not wanting to risk the Hurricane. And at this point, even without It's a Violet, Rhydon is out of range of a Z-move from Oricorio. And Rhydon is the freest Torterra of my opponent's life. So I make an aggressive double right here, anticipating Torterra to want to come out. I thought about it for a while, as you can see. I get in Magmortar, and this essentially means that I get another KO. So Vaporeon comes out. It doesn't matter even if I miss this Fire Blast, but obviously landing it is great. Because if I missed it, I can go for all-out pummeling and knock it out. Because I didn't miss it, I can go for Thunderbolt, knock him out as Oricorio is going to come out. I was really, at this point, I was thinking, okay, he knocks me out, but then I bring out Passimian and click Knock, but then Comfey can come in. And again, Comfey is such a big threat to my team. Magmortar is getting low. So I was thinking that my best way of dealing with Comfey is keeping Delmise healthy, because it can live a hit and knock it out with Power Whip or Anchor Shot. So I bring out Rhydon here, and he doesn't risk the next Hurricane, doesn't even throw off a Z-move. Goes out to Torterra, as I am going to get confused. Doesn't really matter. I mean, I went for Rock Blast anyway. I don't think the extra damage would matter too much. He like resisted and whatnot. But go for Swords Dance there, just sacking my Rhydon because I know that I can bring out Magmortar now. However, by me bringing out Magmortar, I've pretty much committed to it staying in as I have no more rock switching. So he sacks Oricorio. He's going to bring out Comfey. Now the thing is, I have HP investment, so at this range, the roll is severely in my favor. I think the max he can do with Life Orb, Modest Draining Kiss is 18 or 17 or 18, and I'm at 17 with my HP investment. So he goes for that Draining Kiss and gets a crit. A little bit unfortunate because I would have gotten off beautiful damage on Comfey, putting it in range of even Slowbro. But I'll bring out Dhelmise now, and at this point, obviously, Anchor Shot can 2-hit KO Torterra and knocks out Comfey. He has a Silvally Steel. I don't want to mess around with that. I'm going to click Choice Band Earthquake, and I knock out Silvally. So that's great because now he has no more Power Whip resistances. As opposed to going for Comfey, he actually decides to bring out Torterra. I think that's smart too, because again, I was Choice Band, and I would have 2-hit KO'd Comfey, even with Draining Kiss Recovery. So Torterra comes out. I'm going to sack Slowbro as it is the weakest link. And my way of winning at this point is, again, sacking Slowbro. He gets a crit. A little bit unfortunate because now he doesn't have to click Woodhammer, and I had Fire Blast to weaken Torterra right there, or at least force the Woodhammer. But now I can bring out Passimian. Gunk Shot guarantee puts Torterra in range of a banded Power Whip, and it also KOs Comfey. So it was my best play. Luckily I connected, and now the end game comes down to me clicking 2 Power Whips and connecting them. So, by the way, that poison did not matter. The minimum I can do to max HP Torterra was 77%, which he was at prior to poison. So again, it still came down to me hitting 2 power-ups right here. So I do land the first power-up. I couldn't go for Anchor Shot because it would not KO Torterra. And Comfey is going to come out. HP Fire does not knock me out. And I connect my Power Whip. So I win game 1 in a really, 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 really good and close game. So that was a great game in my opinion. So next up, he chose Little Cup. So the loser is the person who picks what we play next, right? Loser picks what we play next. So he chose Little Cup. Obviously not my best here, but I didn't mind the matchup. I knew that Z-Fly Wingo could put in a lot of work versus him. His Vullaby is going to be incredibly scary because my flying resist is Pawniard, and the issue is my Pawniard Scarf Rocks, right? My Pawniard Scarf Rocks, and if I come in on Vullaby and I set up rocks and he U-turns out to Trapinch, I'm dead, right? So there's a lot of going on with this, but my own Trapinch is really cool because it can trap Abra and knock it out with Earthquake in the feint, or Earthquake if it's a Life Orb variant while living a Life Orb Psychic or Energy Ball, whatever Abra wants to go for. But yeah, at that point, I just felt like I wasn't entirely sure what to lead off with either, but I realized I literally have the Landorus T of Little Cup on my team, so I'm going to lead off with Mienfoo here. Now, as far as his game plan goes, I think he threatens me super well with Abra plus Vullaby, so I think that's what is like, that he's going to try and keep pressure up, and Marini's really threatening too. So he leaves Vullaby, I lead off with Mienfoo, I go right for the Fake Out as he goes for Protect, and I'm like, okay, what the hell is this set? I have no idea what this means, but I decided to stay in because I will live a Brave Bird. I won't live a Z Brave Bird though. As he goes for knockoff, I don't mind. I think I was going to get knocked off eventually by either that Timber or Marini. So I can bring out my Vullaby. At the -1, I can actually knock him out with Brave Bird as he brings out Pawniard. Based on that damage, I know that he's a defensive Pawniard. I don't want to get knocked off again, so I decided to go out to Mienfoo. In hindsight, maybe I could have went for the U-turn there because just because he was a defensive Pawniard doesn't mean he was necessarily max speed. But I bring out Mienfoo, and he goes Timber as opposed to going out into Marini. So I throw up a high jump kick, and it's a 2-hit KO. So I'm actually going to go for knockoff here, anticipating him to want to go out to Marini now, his resist. And at this point, I can U-turn now. I have a Fungus. Fungus can come in. Obviously, you can click knockoff his own. I will take a Scald. I'll take Sludge Bomb. Very nice play on his part, going for a knockoff, anticipating my Fungus to want to come out. At this point, I actually go for Sludge Bomb. I didn't want to go for Spore just in case. No, in hindsight, this is a bad play. Yeah, what the hell? Well, I figured Trapinch would come out because it's really the expendable member on this team. And Sporing that meant I couldn't Spore Vullaby, but I don't know, in hindsight, maybe Sporing was just a better play. But I go for Sludge Bomb. Even without my Violet, I guarantee live Earthquake, and Sludge Bomb Poison into Giga Drain actually knocks him out. So, he's going to dub out to Vullaby. Very nice play as I go for Giga Drain there. I was not going to go for Spore. That was a really good play on his part. Again, I thought he would bring that out, and I wanted to go for... It also hit Vullaby more than going for Spore, obviously, but obviously putting Vullaby to sleep would have been nice too. But I bring out Pawniard, as I'm going to go for Rocks here. He's going to be able to knock me out with the Z move, which I did anticipate Z or Brave Bird or anything there, into Hidden Power. Fighting or Fire, I don't know what it was, but I get up Rocks though, which is going to be nice for pressuring Timber, Marini, Vullaby, as I can now bring out my Wingull. And unfortunately for Luthier, I get the call wrong. I thought that he would scout for the Z. Basically, Hurricane can knock out Vullaby, but I didn't want him scouting for the Z and sacking Trapinch. So I went for Scald, and I unfortunately get a crit. That definitely did not knock him out, and he could have knocked me out with Brave Bird after, so that was big. But I knock him out. He's going to bring out Pawniard here. I'm going to Protect just in case he has Pursuit. Though he was Rocks, I don't know if he has Pursuit. Reveals Sucker Punch. Makes a very good play here as I go Mienfoo and goes for the Iron Head. So very, very solid play on my opponent's part for sure. I go for Fake Out though because I can get off some chip damage. That was a really nice play, again, anticipating me to want to go out. As I'm going to bring out Fungus. I felt like Fungus was pretty expendable, though in hindsight, maybe it could have just spored everything, so that could have been useful. So maybe I shouldn't have actually done that and potentially got rid of Wingull. But either way, because Marini is knocked off, I can go out to Wingull, and I know for a fact that Wingull's Z-move will knock out Marini, and if it doesn't, it puts it in range of Feint from Trapinch, which is priority. He'd be trapped, he couldn't do anything. So anticipating him to actually want to go out into Trapinch, I go for Protect first as opposed to throwing off a raw Hurricane, because this also means that Scald knocks out Trapinch too. I also want to see how he would respond to that, like whether he goes Pawniard or not. So that was like the idea behind that. Get a little bit of poison, because I figured Trapinch would come out, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I wasn't sure what he would do on Marini if he would let me hit him. So brings out Trapinch. What I can do now is just throw off a Scald. It would knock it out as he brings out Marini, and I get a burn. Really nice, because again, that puts it in range of my Z Hurricane, and he makes a really good call here and switches out to Pawniard on the Z. So very nice play. I'm definitely getting outplayed right here. And at this point, I'm kind of fearing, obviously, the Sucker Punch. Goes for knockoff right there first over Sucker Punch, and I'm going to bring out Mienfoo. Because Mienfoo does not care about knockoff and Iron Head and knocks it out with U-turn. So I can go for U-turn as Marini's going to come out. Now, I can trap it with Trapinch, however, I risk the Scald Burn and I get damage on me. So my play here is to go out to Wingull. Wingull's Hurricane, if it does connect, guarantee puts it in range of Trapinch's Feint. It dies to Feint. So I go for Hurricane here. I would be able to trap it with Feint. I unfortunately missed, but you know, I did get a little bit lucky so far. He's able to knock me out with Sludge Wave. So at this point, I can't go Trapinch. Again, I'm so weak to Abra that I know for a fact Mienfoo can win, right? I high jump kick this, I high jump kick this, I U-turn on this, right? But I'm so weak to Abra that I had to keep Trapinch healthy. It wouldn't die to Scald and it would knock it out with Earthquake, but if it got burnt, it was worse. So I bring out Vullaby. Once again, I'm putting him in range of the, I'm putting him in range of the Feint, and unfortunately I get burnt again by Scald, so that's pretty big, as it means that I still can't, first off, I can't Roost, anticipating him to want to switch out to Trapinch, and secondly, I'm obviously useless at this point, while this Mon was actually really nice because it's a bulky Violet variant, so brings out Trapinch. I know I live Feint guaranteed, so I just go for Roost here, and I didn't want to go in for Earthquake on my Roost. So I actually ended up going for knockoff, anticipating him to Earthquake as he goes for Rock Slide and misses. So a little bit of justice right there off the miss. But again, when we're throwing, I literally got the poison on Trapinch, so I can't complain. So Pawniard comes out, and right here, so I guarantee lived Iron Head, but I thought my Vullaby would be slower than his Pawniard. So my play was go for U-turn, take the hit, get in Mienfoo, and U-turn again while still keeping Vullaby alive. Unfortunately, I ended up being faster, which didn't work out because thankfully he went for knockoff over Iron Head. But I can just U-turn out into my Mienfoo, into my Vullaby, but my Mienfoo is unfortunately a lot weaker than I wanted it to be. So Timber comes out, it can for sure knock me out. He disconnected, but he's back. It can for sure knock me out with Mach Punch. I'll bring out my Mienfoo, which guarantee lives, as he sacks Marini. Now, I was a little bit hesitant on this sack because I felt like if he was Sash Abra, I had a chance to win with Earthquake in the Feint because I would live. Sash Abra doesn't KO a Trapinch with Timber, so double Earthquake into Feint might be able to deal with him. But knock out Marini, he brings out Abra. He's going to be able to knock me out with Energy Ball, and it actually turns out he is Life Orb, Magic Guard, obviously, not Sash Abra. So he's going to go for Energy Ball, and it guaranteed puts me in range of Mach Punch from Timber. So that was, again, a really, really, really good game, and he played super well. So it's 1-1 right now. It's 1-1. Again, it's best of 3. So next up, we play Ubers. Let me switch sides. Okay, the game disappeared. Maybe I shouldn't have switched sides. There we go. So my team is a really, really cool team. Shout out to Zesty. It's SD, Spadef, Mega Scissor with U-turn, Scarf Ditto, which helps versus offense. I have Geomancy Xerneas. I have an SDZ Refresh Arceus. I loved the idea behind this because back in 2011 or 2012, I played SPL. Maybe it was 2012 or 2013. I played SPL, and I got a really, really important win with Refresh Arceus, and I pretty much like popularized that set. So it was really, it kind of hit home, like nostalgia and everything when I saw it. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely using this. Spadef Primal Groudon with Toxic and Overheat, and dual status Defog Giratina. Now, Luthier has a very threatening team. Gliscor can be super problematic if it's sub-toxic with Taunt. It has to be Taunt though. If it's SD, it's a little bit easier to deal with because Xerneas and stuff will deal with it, and Giratina doesn't care and will go for Hex, but they're usually sub-toxic. Ferrothorn is annoying too. Geomancy Xerneas destroys his team. +2 Focus Blast can wreck Ferrothorn, provided it does connect. Wrecks Tyranitar, and it wrecks, and you know, Moonblast actually hurts Excadrill pretty hard too. However, he does have Drill plus Sand, so he can actually outspeed my Xerneas. My Xerneas isn't faster than Adamant Drill. But yeah, I'm going for a win with E-Killer. As far as my opponent goes, though, I think that he can really threaten me with his Excadrill and Gliscor. So I think his game plan is use his fat Giratina to whittle me around, right? And just beat me down with sub-toxic Gliscor plus Excadrill in the end game. So I decided to lead off with my Giratina because I thought it led well if he led Gliscor, and basically I could burn something for free. Turns out, though, he is Substitute, so as I go for Will-O-Wisp, had he went for Toxic there and I went for Wisp, Gliscor was dead. But I'm not going to get Toxic here. I'm going to go out to my Scizor on the expected Toxic, as he does go for that. And I wasn't sure if he was Taunt or not, so I didn't want to start SDing up right here. But I go for U-turn as he throws off an Earthquake. And what I can do is, it doesn't break the sub, but what I can do is go out to Giratina and essentially stall a few of these Toxics going on. So right back on the Scizor we go, as he goes for Toxic again. And what I'm going to do is go for, I believe, the Roost right now. Yep, and I'm going to go for the SD after. He doesn't reveal Taunt, but I do find out he's Taunt because of the Ditto that I have. So I decided to U-turn one more time as opposed to going for the Roost right there. He's like, I knew I can come in on Ferrothorn, I can come in on T-Tar, and I go out to Ditto, and I say, show me your set. We find out Taunt is his last move. So I'll throw off a Taunt right here as he goes out to Excadrill. Very nice play because it avoided Earthquake due to its Balloon, it avoided Toxic due to its Steel typing, and it allows a double out to Tyranitar. Very nice double because Giratina was easily my best switch right there. So very nice play on his part in Tyranitar. However, I know I'm not really in danger of dying too much, and Banitar doesn't really exist in Ubers. It's usually Support Lum or Megatar with Rest or Toxic, whatever. So I bring out my Groudon, knowing that Groudon will always win the Weather War because Tyranitar cannot get that boy up. It cannot get Sand up in the extreme harsh sun that Groudon gets up. Obviously, it doesn't land. So anyway, he sets up his rocks. I decide to throw off or throw up my own as he's going to bring out Giratina. Now, Restock Giratina sometimes runs Toxic, but not always. I actually go out to my own Giratina here as he goes for Roar. So that kind of reveals to me that he does not have Toxic. He has Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp, Rest, Roar. Now, I think that at this point, I go out to Groudon just scouting for that Wisp, and my game plan is to hopefully have him phase me out into Xerneas and throw off a Toxic. I unfortunately miss. A little bit annoying, but shouldn't matter too much as he is going to roar me out into Giratina. So I threaten him with the prospect of a Draco as I throw off a Will-O-Wisp as he does bring out Tyranitar. So this is nice. So I get a Will-O-Wisp on Tyranitar. Again, most likely it's Rest because the Yveltal counter on team. Throws off a Pursuit, which does absolutely nothing. However, this does allow me to get in Groudon, obviously get rid of the Sand, and I threaten Tyranitar itself. So I'll throw off a Precious Blades here. I didn't really care if Gliscor would come out because I have, Scizor into Giratina to deal with it. I actually throw off a Toxic, anticipating him to want to go Giratina there, which is great. And gonna throw off a Precious Blades, anticipating him to want to Roar as he goes for Rest. So obviously with pressure, I'm losing 2 PP per turn as opposed to 1. So I'm going for Precious Blades to try and chip away at him, and I was just trying to put in range of Moonblast from Xerneas, but I missed twice. And at this point, it's like, okay, I need to connect so I can do some damage. However, I'm losing my Precious Blades. Throws off a Roar, gets me into Scizor. At this point, I kind of have to Roost. If he burns me, so be it. I need to Roost, as Scizor is pretty key in at least U-turning out and taking a hit from Excadrill as well. So I dodged the Will-O-Wisp like he dodged my Precious Blade. So really fortunate turn for me. And what I can do is go right back on to Groudon. So that was a very lucky turn. I'm not going to deny that. But I'm going to bring up my Groudon here. What I can do is throw off a Toxic. And again, I missed another Toxic as he throws off a Rest, which is fine. He went for Rest, so Toxic didn't matter anyway. And I don't want to lose any more Precious Blades because I need them for Tyranitar. So I decided to throw off Rocks here. as he's going to Rest Talk Roar into Giratina. This is beautiful because I know that I can just get off a Hex. If he brings out Tyranitar, it is guaranteed that I live Pursuit if I stay in. So I can actually Hex into a Defog. And if he goes for Rest, I can Defog safely after. So he does go for Rest here, revealing that he didn't have it. I was pretty sure he had it. And at this point, it gives me a safe Defog, which is nice because that means that Giratina cannot touch my Groudon. I mean, it's annoying. It obviously can Pressure Stall it, but... so what I can do now is just bring out my Groudon as he, I believe, does he double? I think he doubled. Nope, he just stayed in the Burn More Sleep turn. So I get in Groudon, obviously throwing him with the Precious Blade. As I go off another one and miss, I wasn't going to risk him staying in, and especially because my Arceus, again, it's SD Refresh. Z Refresh gives you a full restore, essentially, but it's Extreme Speed and Shadow Claw is the only 2 moves. So if he decided to throw, in my opinion, and stay in with Tyranitar, I got damage off on it enough to put it in range of, +4 Arceus, which is what I'm going to try and get on either Excadrill or his support Arceus or Ferrothorn. I got to weaken Ferrothorn first, though, because Ferrothorn has Leech Seed. So I throw up Rocks here one more time. Then I throw off the Overheat as opposed to going for an Earthquake, Precious Blades, as he roars me out into Xerneas. Great. So I don't want to Geomancy just yet. I throw off a Focus Blast because this is his best switching. He's not going to let Glastrier get Moonblast. Drill is on a Balloon. You're not going to let Tyranitar. Your support Arceus is probably Ground or Water, so I don't think it's a good switch in anyway. And there's no way you stay in with Giratina. Giratina's a threat. So I throw off a Focus Blast, a raw Focus Blast. As he does go Ferrothorn, I get that play right, which is great. And I'll throw off another Focus Blast here. I'm going to throw off another Focus Blast here. Now, he shouldn't risk the Ferrothorn, so I actually throw off a Moonblast here as well. Like I said, he shouldn't risk Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is really useful for dealing with Xerneas, so I throw off a Moonblast as he's going to bring out Arceus. And at this point, I decide to Geomancy up because I can essentially just get some KOs right now and break through. It's Arceus. He brings out Tyranitar. That way he can bring out his Excadrill after to outspeed me. I am completely fine with that sack because that means that my opponent does not get rocks up in this game. And what I can do is actually switch out. He's gonna go for the Iron Head. So I bring out my Groudon on the Iron Head. There's no way to go for Earthquake. It wouldn't KO me. He's not Z obviously because it's on a Balloon. And I double out into my Giratina on the Earthquake, and I double out to Scizor on the Iron Head, and all this just so I can U-turn. I triple out to Scizor, excuse me, on the Iron Head. All this just so I can U-turn out as he goes for SD, and this is great. I pop his Balloon, I threaten him with Earthquake now, and I can bring out big old Ditto, and I decide that I'm not going to click Earthquake because he has a Gliscor, and also this was a calculated risk because +2 Iron Head to Excadrill, +2 Iron Head to Excadrill does enough. First off, it has a chance to KO Drill. At that point, with +2, it's ridiculous that it has a chance to KO. But it does enough to the point that Bullet Punch from Scizor will always take it out. And if Drill is gone, the only Pokemon that outspeeds my Xerneas will be his Arceus. So I decide to click Iron Head here as he goes out to Gliscor. I make the aggressive play, but it was also a calculated play. And that's a 2-hit KO on Gliscor. I know it doesn't have Protect, so I can click Iron Head again. I would 2-hit KO Giratina, and though it does have pressure, I would still be able to 2-hit KO it. And he ends up going out to Ferrothorn, which I am completely fine with. While he does go for Protect this turn, I can throw off another one. Obviously, Ditto only has 5 PP when it copies. But he brings out the Giratina, which is very, very smart. Because pressure means I have absolutely no more Iron Heads left. So I decided to bring out Xerneas right here. I said nice because that was a great play. That was a really good play. I acknowledge that play. As Giratina is going to go for Rest. And this just means I get to click Moonblast. Moonblast at that range does KO Ferrothorn. It KOs Gliscor, it KOs Arceus. And it does good amount to Excadrill. So go right for the Moonblast there. As I'm being able to knock him out. He's going to bring out his Arceus. And at this point, I'll bring out Ditto. Because I'm pretty sure this Arceus is Defog and potentially Toxic. And if it's not Defog, because he's Spin on Drill, I want to see his set. So I find out he's Judgment, Toxic, Ice Beam, and Recover. So I bring out I threaten Gliscor, and I threaten him with the prospect of a Toxic. So Giratina should be his best play, or Gliscor. These two are the two mons he potentially bring out. And I throw off an Ice Beam here. Now this is really crucial because I'm putting Giratina in range. I'm putting Giratina in range of +2 Arceus always. So what I'm actually going to do here is go directly into Xerneas, because after Rocks, Giratina drops, he doesn't wake up, and he doesn't go for Sleep Talk either, which is smart because he's pressure stalling me. So I get in Xerneas, and all I gotta do now at this point is sack my Xerneas till I get in my Arceus. I even can spam Moonblast, which even works out for me better than I would have hoped, because it also gets a special attack drop on Arceus, which means, I mean, my own Arceus was bulky, so I was going to take anything anyway, but special attack drops mean he doesn't do much. And now, at this point, Giratina is in range. Like I said, a +2 Shadow Claw after Rocks. I can bring out Arceus. He's pretty much forced to go for Toxic. I'm saying pretty much a lot, but he's forced to go for Toxic. I can SD, and then +4 is my best play. Brings out Gliscor. Again, I go for +4. I'm faster than this Gliscor because his Arceus actually has a bit of speed, just a little bit, but it is faster than Gliscor. I can knock it out with Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw KOs it. It will KO Excadrill. It will KO Giratina. As Excadrill is going to come out, and at this point, at full HP, Arceus is never in danger of dying to a drill crit, so I can go right for the Z Refresh, revealing it, getting me my full restore, and now I'm a +4 Arceus. His own Arceus dies to extreme speed, and Giratina dies to Shadow Claw. So that's a good game right there. I ended up winning the Ubers game the way I wanted to. This is the mon I was setting up for the entire game. And, you know, the Focus Blast play on Ferrothorn, the Ice Beaming on Giratina, all of that was for setting up. Because the other alternative I could have done was try and last mon with Arceus. But I don't know if he figured that out, that I would try and last mon with Arceus. And then I had to play around with Taunt from Gliscor. Obviously, Z Restore doesn't care about Taunt, but could have been a little bit annoying. So now we have my Ryu game. There's only two tiers left, Ryu and UU. So I decided to play Ryu right here. Looking at the matchup, yeah, Mega's really good here, but it doesn't KO anything, right? Like it's only the Zydog, right? But I do have Shadow Ball for the Blade, which will KO it after a little bit of chip damage. I can obviously KO Gliscor after like half health. Gardevoir at a little bit of health. Blastoise at about half. So I think the game plan here is to go for spike stacking, which I obviously have, and pressure everything enough to the point of a Yanmega sweep or a Zygarde 1000 Arrow sweep. Now his own Zygarde, Bandit Zygarde, puts in a lot of work versus me, but so does mine. So I lead Roserade because I think that Vikavolt is his best lead. It literally takes a hit from every Mon on the team and can KO them if it's Specs or Z. So I lead Roserade because I do have Sleep Powder and I do risk. Sorry, I was just saying, like, this is a great series. It really has been a great series so far, so I'm really happy about it. But I click Sleep Powder, thankfully do connect, and what I decided to do is throw off an HP Fire. If I don't get on out of there, if he does get like a, you know, the turn 1 Wake, I'd rather have like 87% on him with the HP Fire. So he brings out Zygarde, as I'm going to bring out Uxie. Uxie does guarantee take 2, and I make a pretty stupid play, and I honestly was so embarrassed, but I click Yawn, completely forgetting I just clicked Sleep Powder, and this would break Sleep Claws. Obviously it would fail, but I could have gotten up Rocks there and then U-turned, or just U-turned for momentum anyway, but because I was scared of Zygarde if he wanted to stay in. Anyway, I U-turn out into Machamp because if he did wake up, he would go for a bug move, and what I can do now is just throw off Dynamic Punch. I think Dynamic Punch is better than going for knockoff, as if he's Z, it doesn't matter. Dynamic Punch can obviously confuse. So it brings out Blastoise on the knockoff. Again, I'm a Salt Vest Machamp, so the only thing that I'm really fearing is a Scald Burn from Blastoise, which he actually turns out to be running it. A lot of Blastoise aren't even running Scald now, they're running coverage, but doesn't burn me, and Blastoise is already in range. I'm surprised. Yeah, I said 34 because, like, what the hell? Mega Blastoise is bulky. Either way, I'll bring out Roserade here as he hits himself with Confusion. I didn't want to risk the burn on Machamp at that point, especially because I have Bullet Punch, which might be useful for a late game Zygarde or that. And I bring out Roserade, and at that point he did hit himself with Confusion, so it's guaranteed in range of Technician, boosting HP Fire. So throw off an HP Fire as he is going to bring out his Zygarde. At this point I have to figure out what's the most expendable member of my team, and that's another reason why I actually saved Machamp too, because I didn't want to go hard Uxie. And by basically sacking Machamp here, it gives me Blastoise, which essentially just gets a kill versus his squad. Nothing wants to switch it on Blastoise. So I bring out Mega Blastoise now. I'm going to Mega Evolve and throw off an Ice Beam. Ice Beam into Dark Pulse. KOs pretty much everything on his team besides Gardevoir. He goes Gligar, so that's great. I don't have to worry about Rocks. I don't have to worry about Defog as he brings out Vikavolt. And again, because I am setting up for that Mega, my best play is just to click Dark Pulse here. It does enough to put it in range of Bug Buzz from Mega. And also there's a chance that he stays asleep. So turns out he gets a 3-turn sleep. I can go for another Dark Pulse as he is going to bring out his Gardevoir here. And my best play is to go out into Uxie, because Uxie, I'm positive that's Scarf Gardevoir. It could be, he could go for Healing Wish as well in Vikavolt, which would be a little annoying, but not the most annoying. And Uxie guarantee takes 2 hits from Scarf Gardevoir. So what I decided to do here is, again, 39% is the maximum Scarf Gardevoir can get. So I decided to stay in and go for Rocks. Again, this is key. I'm saying again a lot, but this is key for my Mega sweep, because Rocks plus Spikes ensure that I deal with Mega. So I'm going to bring out Roserade, as he is going to bring out Vikavolt, and I'm going to go for Spike. Now, I obviously could have picked up the KO on Vikavolt this next turn with with HP Fire, and then Zygarde would have came in. However, by going for a second layer spike, I ensure that the KO on Deblade is about 90% in my favor with Life Orb, Mega. So by going for a second layer spike, I ensure victory, since Savage Spinout is going to be able to knock me out. However, I can go out to Mega. I just click Bug Buzz, I knock out Vikavolt, I get my speed boost, Scarf Gardevoir isn't faster, and he brings out the Blade. And again, like I said, I have set up for this win, which is why I went for that second layer spike over getting the KO. He actually doubles out from Zygarde into he doubles out from Deblade into Zygarde, and I think his thought process was, I would go Blastoise there, and I can go for Dark Pulse, and he wanted to get as much damage as possible to then try and maybe Psychic Sweep me with Gardevoir. Which is for sure possible, or even Moonblast Sweep me with Gardevoir. But like I said, I had Shadow Ball, which he was in range of. Shadow Ball is also going to be able to knock out Zygarde right there. Deblade's going to come back in, and it guaranteed dies. This is modest, man. This is modest Life Orb. And at this point, we say good games. And I end up winning in round 1 versus Luthier, and I was just so excited about it. I was really so excited about this because, again, like I said, this is my third. I don't know if I said in the beginning, but this is my third time qualifying for Grand Slam playoffs. Right, I'm the only player on Smogon who's qualified for Grand Slam playoffs 3 times. Every single time I've attempted, I've qualified. So every single time I've lost round 1 to the eventual winner of Grand Slam. Last year I lost to level 56. The year before that I lost to, not the year before that, but a few years before that I lost to Logok, which was my first Grand Slam, and then I played last year's Grand Slam, and then I played this year's Grand Slam. So I lost to Logok. And they both eventually ended up winning Grand Slam. They were, they played great, but I'm just really happy that I was able to win in round 1. I have 3 more rounds to go though, but thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I think this series was great from both sides. I really think it was really, really well played. And even this Aryu game could have gone either way if Vikavolt obviously woke up, but I was trying to set up for the Mega Sweep, and I think I did fine for it. But I do hope you guys all enjoyed. Like I said, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'll be bringing you guys my round 2 when I play next week. And thank you all to my subscribers and my friends who have been helping me prep. You guys know who you are. I already thanked you all. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.